guys, and welcome back to the Mfren podcast. So this is gonna be my second time trying to film this podcast because the last time, or if you guys saw one of my recent videos, I filmed the podcast last Tuesday. I had it ready to upload, but then as soon as I stopped recording, I don't know what happened. Like I've never seen because I use I use Record It Pro on my MacBook, and for like the first time out of all the podcasts I filmed using this program, I don't know what happened. It did like the fucking pinwheel of death, and it wouldn't let me save the recording. I tried to force quit it and then maybe see if it would work, but it literally just had my last recording from my most previous podcast, so I lost like an entire 45-minute recording. So I'm gonna try to reiterate what I said in that last podcast, but I'll start with the most recent things that have happened. So this past weekend we were at the RBC Canadian Open. If you've seen my most recent video, and actually I just checked before started filming. I just checked the analytics of it to see how it was doing so far in the first I think it was 18 hours at first, because I uploaded it a little later because I edited it a little bit later in the afternoon. I think I edited around 6-ish or so. Took about an hour to edit it, and then about 45 minutes to have it fully upload. So I think I uploaded around 8. I think I uploaded around 8:30, I think it was. So in the first 18 hours, it already almost has 100 views. I'm at 85 right now. So I think it could probably get to at least 150 by probably the end of the week, probably, or something. But yeah, it was a great time there because the first time I hadn't been to that event in 5 years, since 2018. But that was back when it was at Glen Abbey in Oakville. But this is at Oakdale Golf Course in Toronto, which I think I really like this one. It was actually very nicely laid out. I mean, it was mostly an overcast day for the most part, like it is today out right now. And it rained a little bit though. I know I didn't stay for the whole thing because I went to go see Transformers Rise of the Beast with Natalie and her family, which I'll get to that after I'm done talking about the Canadian Open. So I missed Nick Taylor winning, and I actually had a bet on him to win. So I $25 when he was at plus 500 around 2:30ish or so, or 3 in the afternoon when I placed the wager, and won $125 because him and Tommy Fleetwood ended up tying at the end, and they went to a playoff hole, which I think hasn't happened at the Open, or at least in a while, I want to say. But yeah, the first Canadian to win it since 1954, which is actually insane. And my brother said as soon as I got home from the movies, he's like Mike's, you missed a good finish to it. I mean, yeah, it would have been sick content for the vlog, obviously, but I mean it is what it is, honestly. I think the only thing maybe I wish I would have recorded on camera was if I got a good view of it, is when Adam Hadwin got absolutely decked by security because they thought he was just some random fan spraying champagne on him, on Nick Taylor, after he won. He absolutely got decked by security, and it would have been, but I mean, there's videos all over Twitter and everything, but it would have been cool to capture in the vlog and stuff, maybe make that the thumbnail. But yeah, it was still crazy seeing an air horn go off to mess up Rory's shot on the 7th hole, because he was pissed, because as you saw in my video, he as soon as his second shot that he did, slams his driver down, because he went a little bit shanked it right, but he wasn't completely off the course. He was a bit in the rough there on the side. But yeah, he was not too happy about that. But yeah, I think that's the most craziest thing I've seen since when I was at the tournament in 2018. I know BMW sponsored the one at Glen Abbey back in 2018, and I remember, I think it was the 6th hole or the 5th hole there, where they have a bunch of other BMW displays. Apparently one of the car alarms went off there a few years back when I was actually checking out I was passing by the cars there, and apparently it messed up some guy's shot, but he wasn't. Well, we went on the Saturday, the second last day of the tournament, but I guess it didn't really matter because I think the guys whose shot got messed up was didn't even make the cut anyways. But I remember some guy came over and was he's like, yeah, thanks a lot, BMW, you just messed up this guy's shot or whatever, because the car alarm I think just went off randomly or something. But yeah, that's the most crazy thing I've seen since someone blown an air horn, because there was literally apartment buildings literally right next to the golf course. So I mean, maybe someone was I'm gonna screw this guy's shot up, I guess. But I'm surprised with all the planes flying over every 5 minutes. I'm surprised the golfers didn't get distracted by that at all, or I guess it didn't really matter to them as much. But it was still a great day though. So then I left around just a little bit after There's a little after 6. I think like 6:05, 6:10. I left when I left right after Rory made his tee shot on, or or no, his second shot on to the green in on the 18th hole, and then I dipped there and took the bus back to where we parked, and then drove like Fast and Furious on the highway to get to the movies in time. Because it started at 7:15, the movie Transformers, but it didn't start till like 7:25. So literally, as soon as I get into the theater, I'm like, all right, get into the parking lot. I'm like sprinting to the front, because it's also like a bit spitting rain at this point, so I'm trying not to get wet too much. And then literally, I met Natalie at the front, and then as soon as we got into the theater, because she ended up getting snacks for me, because I just texted her what I needed. And then I think it was like the Expendables 4 trailer was going on, and then like two more trailers happened, and then the movie started. So I got there like literally just in the nick of time. But well, so one other thing I'll get back to before I start in Transformers. It was so I brought two of my Canon batteries, in case if one started to die out halfway through, and one I think I switched to my second battery around like maybe a little bit after 4 when we were watching on like the 13th hole, I think it was. And then I put my other camera battery in my pocket and after. So then I just brought a change of clothes just to change out of my golf sweater, and then just put a bit different pairs of shoes on after. So then I had my extra battery like on my passenger seat. And then yesterday when I come inside, I was looking to charge both my camera batteries. I couldn't find them. Or I found the one that was in my camera, but I couldn't find the extra one. I'm like, oh shit, where did it go? So I guess what happened was I thought maybe I lost it at the open, and I like left it. It fell in my pocket in the grass where I parked or something. But apparently, it fell in my right pocket. It fell down the side of my seat, because I was looking. I'm like, maybe it fell on the passenger side. And I was looking this morning when I was going to the gym, and then I look over when I'm about to put my seatbelt in. I'm like, oh, was that there? Because I saw the where is it? I saw this plastic piece sticking out, and I'm like, oh, that's my battery right there. So then I pulled it out. I'm like, so that's what it was. Just chilling on the side of the seat, because I find like I've put so much shit down there. Like I think the other day, like I was vacuuming out under my seats, and I found like a bunch of loose change. I found some like bar coasters that I've taken from like Boston Pizza in the past. Actually, it was a couple Coors Bank ones, not this shock top one. But so yeah, I literally thought I lost my extra battery, because that would have been sucked having to replace that, because I think Canon batteries, they're not cheap now. I think they're like $70-$80 now just to get the sole battery on its own. But I remember when I think I was gonna order a second I think when I ordered a second battery, I think like 2 summers ago, I think it was, they were like $90 or $85 from the Henry's camera store, I'm pretty sure. Which that was not fun to get, but I needed an extra battery, because instead of having my only battery die out and like when I'm halfway through filming like a day in the life or like some car vlog or whatever, so that way I was like, I have a backup to switch out to if I ever need one. So regardless, we avoided that dilemma. Almost the same thing has happened 2 summers ago with my drone cable to plug into my from my Google Pixel to the controller, so I can connect my drone, because I looked in there the one time and I'm like, oh, I always see is like the Apple ones, it doesn't connect to my phone, and then it ended up being on the side of my seat, because somehow I think when I forgot, maybe I didn't put it in the drone case properly, and it just fell on the side of the seat and I didn't notice. And then I'm vacuuming my car the one day and I see it there, even though I already, after I ordered one off of DJI's website. So I mean, at least I have a backup now in case the other one goes missing. But I know I always find I misplace shit, and then when I order something new, I always end up finding the original one. It's just how it goes for me. But back to Transformers. So again, hadn't seen the Transformers movie. Well, I since the last Michael Bay one, The Last Night, which again I did not like that one. The only thing that was cool about it was the Centenario that they used in it, Hot Rod. But other than that, the storyline was just like it just was a little bit over the top. And some of the Transformers are literally in the movie for like 5 seconds, and then they don't get any screen time, don't get any lines, any of this. But I will say the Rise of the Beast was like it met my expectations. Like I knew what I was getting into when I saw the trailers and everything else. Like I think the designs for all the Transformers were really cool. Even well, they're not even in the Decepticons. They're not even the Decepticons. I forget what they call. I think they call them the Primals. Or no, that's the Beast Wars. Like the I can't. I literally already forget their name. I just saw the movie like 2 days ago. But I'll call them the Decepticons for right now. So the Decepticons who are working for Unicron to get like this little key thing piece or whatever to like upload to unlock a space bridge so the Autobots can get back to Cybertron. Um, they literally spend the whole movie finding that, and the Decepticons like the main leader Scourge is like I think he was voiced by Peter Dinklage. I'm pretty sure. I mean, he was pretty cool. I mean, but he transforms into like some like huge truck with like a huge like spike grill on the front, and like the Autobots are all cool. Like I thought when I first saw the trailer, I thought Mirage, who's Pete Davidson's character, was like the Porsche. I thought that was Jazz originally, and I'm like, oh, sick. We're gonna see like '90s Jazz originally, but um, I think he was probably the best Autobot because again, he has like the most lines out of all the Autobots. Like Bumblebee again doesn't talk; he just talks to the radio. Also, he dies in like about 40 minutes into the movie, then gets revived in the last like 20 minutes through Energon. Also, spoiler warning: if you're gonna see the movie, just skip past this section of the podcast. But yeah, basically he dies, and then his Energon gets like rebooted basically back like in the last 20 minutes of the movie when like I'm not even sure how the like I think it was like a thing goes off and like all the Energon in like in Peru where they're in for the last segment of the movie. Bumblebee's like lying on a rock, and then Energon fuels from the rock and brings him back to life, and that's how he gets revived pretty much. Um, then but some of the other Autobots, like they have barely any lines. Like I think RC, the motorcycle character in the movie, she literally has like 5 lines maybe, and all it is just to be like, Optimus, there's people over here, or Optimus, we have to stop this person. It's literally that's all she does and says, or she just explains shit that someone already explained. Um, and the other Decepticons, like I don't even there was a Skyline which was pretty cool. There's an R34. It was a Decepticon that also turns into like a jet or something, or she can fly on her own. But it was cool, like, because they only showed the Skyline driving for literally like 2 scenes when they're driving around like the canyons and stuff. And then she transforms, and then we never see it again. And I don't even know what their names are. There's also like a tow truck that like shoots out missiles, and it's like tow truck cables like rip shit out of the ground and use it as like a grappling pole or whatever. But yeah, again, I don't even know what the heck their names were at all in the movie. All you just know is the main bad guy was Scourge, and then Unicron, who's like the Planet Eater, and Optimus was cool. I liked his original 80s like comic and like original movie design, and also he does have because I remember I think it was in the Last Night or Age of Extinction because Peter Cullen, who voices Optimus, apparently like said in like an interview or something there he said there was a lot of lines like I didn't really want to say, but I think Michael Bay was like, no, we want you to say this even if we have to cut it out, just that way we have it in case. But it was like, oh, he's like, I really didn't want to say it because like this is not what Optimus says, and it was like we will kill them all or something because like that's not Optimus's true character. He always like tries to find like the good, or if anything he's like, oh, we'll destroy the Decepticons or like whatever. But there was a line in the movie where I think it was like he was about to destroy Unicron, and he's like, or he like rips like the staff space bridge piece out of like the machine that they're using, and he's like, I think Unicron was like, don't Prime, I'll give you whatever you want, and he's like, okay, then die, and he just like shoots he like blows a missile at like the computer tablet, and then like that just ends. And there was I can't remember, there was one line he says to Scourge too where he's like, oh, I think he's like, oh, you're gonna, he's like, I'll kill you for what you did to Bumblebee or something. And it was just like over the top because I mean, I found like in a lot of the recent Transformers movies, like Optimus always says like, oh, like you die or whatever or something like that. Um, but then there's also another Transformer that they literally just use as like a transportation device. Like there's some huge like old like war helicopter, like an old AC-130, and all he does in the movie, he says one line when he meets them at like their meeting point in New York City before they fly off to Peru. he says like one line and that's it. I don't even know what his name is, to be honest. Then he transforms and then pretty much transports all the Autobots and the two human characters into the over to Peru. And then the only other thing he does in the movie is then once Bumblebee gets revived, Bumblebee jumps out of the back of him and like dives down into the sky and shoots a bunch of these like laser ball cannon things, and that's it. And then he doesn't join the fight at all because it would have been pretty sick if he joined the fight because like he's a lot more taller than Optimus was. Like I think Optimus was like 20 something feet, and I think this robot or the airplane guy, AC-130 guy, whatever his name is, he was around like I think 45 to 50 feet because you see them all standing around and one shot together, and he's like significantly taller than Optimus, and like that would have been cool to have him in the fight and stuff, but nope, he's just there for transport and that's it. um and then at the one point in the movie, Mirage, the Porsche character, is like basically protecting the human character Noah, and then pretty much like almost dies pretty much, and then he's like, you know what, I'm gonna give you my parts. So then he transforms and then pretty much goes on to transforms and makes like an armorized suit to go on to Noah. And pretty much I'm like, oh, this looks like a G.I. Joe suit from like the Channing Tatum movies. And I had a theory which ended up coming true, but I think people were talking about this beforehand, so it's not like it's like that big of a spoiler. But pretty much at the end of the movie, he gets like recruited to work for like the GI Joe force, which I guess means now that the GI Joe and the Transformers universe, because I mean again they were also toys made by the same company, Hasbro, so I figured they were gonna make like a movie somehow together as well. So whenever the next movie comes out in like another 3 to 5 years, they'll probably have the Autobots working with the GI Joe characters and have like a strike force, sort of like how they had the Nest team in in the second and third movie, except that way they have like the soldiers will have like armorized suits so they could actually help the Autobots more than just shooting them with like M16s doing no damage to the Decepticons whatsoever. So I think that's probably the route they're gonna go, and then they'll probably introduce a couple more Autobots in the next movie, and then probably obviously introduce Megatron back again and some other thing, or maybe Unicron comes back in some way. I don't really know what they're gonna do, but I think overall it wasn't like it was definitely better than the last night. I'll say that. Like the effects have aged like a really good. Like there were some really cool scenes. Like there was some tense um moments like with like the music and then the soundtrack too as well. But it just was a little. It felt a little flat for me in that sense. Um, like I liked it, but I wasn't blown away by any means. And I'm trying to think if there was something else that I did. Oh, and the thing is, they rely on the humans too much. It's like, oh, let the Autobots figure this out. But then it's like, no, let's send the humans in because we can't cause too much of a distraction. Because I think at this point, the world doesn't really know that the Transformers exist on Earth, kind of thing. Um, so, yeah, they pretty much have to rely on the human characters because they send the Noah guy into the museum to go find the artifact. Well, the Transformers wait outside and will interfere if there's trouble or whatever. Then they do the same thing in Peru when they go to in the mine to go find the spark that or the Q piece or whatever or staff piece they need, and then it ends up being moved away into like the forest where all the animal Autobots are, and yeah, and then uh yeah, and then there's like a moment at the end where like it's like the moment of like the triumph moment where it's like you can do it, like you think you're a nobody but you're a somebody, like something like that. And then dude, they fucking do like it's almost like an equivalent to like where Dwayne the Rock Johnson in like Hobbs and Shaw, where he was like holding the helicopter with like the chain cable and then like reels it back in quick. There's a similar moment to like that where you think Optimus is gonna get sucked back into Unicron, and then Noah in his armorized GI Joe suit ends up like holding Optimus by like his sword and then like brings him back because he's like a jetpack, and then ends up um pulling him towards safety. I mean, I guess he's got like an armorized suit. I don't know how powerful it is, I guess, but um I guess plot armor was a little bit involved in there too. Then I think that was the only post credit scene about the GI Joe thing. Um, but Yeah, so I'm not sure what they're gonna like. Who's gonna be the next big bad force? Like, obviously, they'll probably have to introduce Megatron and like some of the other iconic Decepticon villains. But I guess we'll have to wait and see till it's out. Because I mean, a lot of people have like mixed emotions about this right now. Um, Again, like I'm not. This is just like me, maybe being like a little bit nitpicky about this. But yeah, it's just some of those like were some like the kind of things I thought about the movie too after like seeing it. But yeah, definitely this is a movie I probably wouldn't go see again for the second time. And I also, speaking of other movies, like I mean, I'll skip off the Transformers. But I also recently saw Into the Spider Verse with Natalie. Actually, last Wednesday we saw it. Yeah, we saw it after her graduation, and Spider Verse was really good. I actually really enjoyed it. I don't think it's better than the first one. I also still think the soundtrack in the first one is better. I think there's a lot more iconic songs. I think there's only like three songs from this movie that I actually like enjoyed. But I feel like this one there was a lot more stuff going on. Like this is the one where you have to like watch like 0.5 speed to get like every little detail because I saw a new Rockstars video where they did like an Easter egg breakdown where there's so many like where all the Spider-Man are chasing Miles out of like the central hub for all the Spider-Man people, and there's like 0.5 people like so many people comment like you see one Spider-Man character for like a split second, and you see another one in the background, and there's like so many like attention to details in that movie. So I guess that's why it took like over 5 years for this movie to come out because of all the little details they put into the movie, and like the animation style was really good. Like there was a lot of cool set pieces in that movie. But now in a year, I think next March or May is when Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out, which again, spoiler warning for this movie, I haven't seen it. He'll probably most likely go like somehow Miles will like at the end of the movie maybe fall into like the Sonyverse because there's a scene where the Spot goes through a portal into like the Venomverse and talks to like the one lady at the corner store that Venom has interactions with in the regular Venom and the Carnage movie as well too. So that's probably where Miles Morales will show up in live action, and then that's where they'll make their live action Miles Morales Spider-Man, or somehow he'll show up in the MCU because technically that is been confirmed, but also like hinted at with references like in Spider-Man No Way Home when Jamie Foxx is like, oh, he's like, I thought you'd be black. He's like, no, it's okay. There's probably a black Spider-Man out there somewhere. And then when Donald Glover's character says in a deleted scene, he's like, yeah, Miles, I'm not going to be home right now. I'm going to be a little late tonight. So he's definitely out there somewhere. They just haven't shown him up yet. Or maybe he might show up in Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland whenever that comes out. But yeah, I thought it was a really good movie. So the next movie that's on my list to see at least, I mean, for the summer, definitely I want to see Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, or Part 1 of 2. And then the new Ninja Turtles animated movie, which sort of has the similar animation styles of Spider-Verse. Apparently Oppenheimer, I heard, is supposed to be really good too. Like that's like a loaded, stacked cast. Like that'll probably win a bunch of awards at the Grammys, I think, or the Oscars or whatever. I can't remember the award show for movies and shit. Um, and I know there's another one too. There's probably another one I can't figure out right now. Um, oh, also, I think it comes out the day before my birthday. I think it is I gotta see what the date is. On August 11th. Yeah, on August 11th it's um oh my god, what's the Gran Turismo comes out. So I definitely will probably see that for my birthday. I'm not even a huge. I've only played one Gran Turismo and that's it. I'm more of a Need for Speed guy. And the movie that they made, I wasn't really a fan of because I did make a movie review on my channel about Need for Speed that it was like had failed potential and didn't really live up to the hype. Dude, I'm also waiting for a Forza Horizon movie. I think one could probably happen in like the next couple years or so. Call it like Horizon or something, and they could do a storyline about that. I think would be pretty cool, and I think a lot of people would be behind it actually. Um, and yeah, so excited for those movies to come out for the rest of the summer. Okay, stop giving me preference is now. Stupid MacBook. Um, so and then I'm trying to think what I talked about in my last podcast. Actually, well, I'll say one thing. So with the wildfires going on for like the last like week or so, it was like really hazy out. Even on like sunny days, it literally just looked like it was smoggy and like muggy out. I mean, it even kind of looks like that out right now, but I think that's just because it might rain later on. Actually, gotta check the weather. Yeah, there's literally a 50% chance throughout the rest of the day. Yeah, 50% chance at 5 p.m., then 70 at 6 p.m., and then it's like half percent chance of rain all day tomorrow, and then it's pretty much sunny for the rest of the week, and then next Tuesday it's like a 30% chance of showers. So I'm supposed to go golfing tomorrow with Kai and Ryan and maybe my brother possibly. I think because we went to St. David's last Tuesday, so I think we might go to Queenston, I think, for this coming Tuesday. Um, so we'll see. Hopefully the weather pans out for that. But with the wildfires and like it being kind of smoggy out and stuff, my spring allergies haven't really been that bad. And I know I made a podcast, I think probably almost about a year ago, where I said spring allergies are the worst. It's because they are. But mine, I mean, again, I'll I'll knock on wood so I don't jinx myself and end up having it worse like tomorrow morning or something. But my spring allergies haven't really been that bad because it's always this time around the end of May and beginning of June is always when my spring allergies hit the worst. And I'm looking at my phone right now. The date says it's June 13th today, and I think I've taken a total like three allergy pills so far or Claritins um since end of May, beginning of June. Because when we were in Vermont, which is the beginning of June, my allergies weren't even that bad. Like I was thinking, I'm like, oh, I didn't bring Claritin, but I didn't even need to ask for it at Natalie's aunt's house because I didn't really need it. Like I think it was one morning I sort of woke up with like a stuffy, one of my nostrils was stuffy, but then started moving around throughout the day, went outside for a bit, and then I was fine. I mean, it sneezed a couple times here or there, but like nothing too serious. Like my eyes weren't watering super crazy. I think it was yesterday morning. I woke up at like 4 in the morning, and like I like went to breathe in my nose and was just super clogged, and then like I sneezed like two times, and um then I was like blowing my nose for like 5 minutes, and my eyes were like watering like nuts, and I'm like, oh great, like did I just jinx myself, or this is when my allergies start? Then I like chugged the water, and I didn't end up taking an allergy pill until like the next morning, and then I was fine for like the rest of the day yesterday, and then even today I didn't take one before I went to the gym or anything, and I feel fine now. So I feel like if my nose is like obviously like if my nose is like stuffy when I wake up in the morning, I'll just take one, and then if it's not, maybe I still might just in case, like before I go off to work or do whatever. And then, I mean, if I don't feel like I need to take one, then I won't. But then if it gets worse, maybe I'll just, I guess, suffer the consequences for that one day. But yeah, this is like the one spring where my allergies haven't got the best of me yet. So I'm again hoping I'm not jinxing myself, hoping it's not like um, too early yet. But again, we also had a shitload of rain yesterday, which I think helps bring the pollen out of the air and just leaves it on the ground, so it's not floating around in the air, um, and making it worse for everyone else too as well. But we definitely needed a lot of rain, and because actually the first time this morning I woke up and the skies were like clear blue skies, and there was like a couple of clouds in the air, and I'm like, man, I haven't seen what the blue sky looks like in over a week and a half now. I mean, we're lucky we didn't get the forest fire sky, like bad atmosphere weather from at least as bad as like New York City had it, because apparently they had it, or the shit literally looked like a set of like Dune or like Blade Runner 2049, um because it was literally like yellow in the sky, and I was seeing like TikToks and shit about it, like people comparing it to like Blade Runner and or like Dune and stuff, and it was like, man, they got it like a lot worse than we did. Like we got it where it's like the skies just looked gray, or it just looked like it was like someone had a big huge smoke fire and it was just covering the entire sky. Um, and then even when like the sun would set, it was like a dark like pink color, and then like it just went behind the clouds and you didn't see the sun at all, like barely during the sunsets. like the last like week or so. Like I think last night was the one of the best sunsets I've seen so far of this spring slash summer. I mean, it's a little bit filtered, but this was from Kai's house, um, through his second story window, from from when we were watching the NBA Finals last night. Like it was a pretty like nice sky. But yeah, I really haven't taken any sunset pictures on my phone. I'm gonna have this one of like my car from like over a month ago, but like that's it. Um, yeah, I noticed. Because usually I always take photos of the sunset, but haven't really done that so much this year. So what we're at time for now? We are at 30 minutes. Okay, so I'll probably maybe keep this another maybe 10, 15 minutes longer. But I remember. So actually, what can I talk about else? Did I talk about in the last podcast? Um, I think I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, I was gonna talk about the NHL playoffs a little bit and who I want to win. To be honest, I mean, well, Vegas is up 3-1 on Florida right now, and they play tonight. And Kai's keep coming for Vegas. Like he was saying last night, he's like, I think I might throw the house on Vegas money line tonight because they're also at home too as well. But I have a feeling Florida might find a way to squeak out a win, but then maybe Vegas wins like the next one in 6 in Florida. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be tough to see. Um, because if Florida wins the cup, they can't win it at home, so they would have to win tonight's game, then in Florida force game 7, and then win it back in Vegas. Um, so I mean, again, I really would rather have Florida win because I think it's a better story if they win because again they were just like the same boat as Buffalo where they barely made the playoffs. They were pushing for a playoff spot the entire month of March and April. And they just squeaked past with 1 point ahead of Buffalo. And I still think to this day, if Buffalo would have just had won one more game, I feel like we could have been the Florida Panthers right now. Not sure maybe if we would have beaten Boston, but I think it could have been a cool story if we stuck in the playoffs, beat Boston in 7 games after being down 3-1, smoked the Leafs 4-1, sweep Carolina, and then beat Vegas. Imagine that like a Eichel Tuck final, like after Eichel gets traded, like just a little bit over a year after getting traded from his former team and then playing them in the final. Like I think that would have been such a cool storyline because everyone's like saying that the ratings are going to be so low for the Stanley Cup because it's like a South Florida team and then Vegas who's like super new into the league. They're like only 5 years in right now. But I mean, I got to give credit to them. Like Vegas, like their GM like definitely knows how to make some good trades or definitely gets the assets that they need. But I think a lot of Sabres fans will probably be like salty if Vegas wins because of Eichel. Like I think I'd rather have Reinhart win over Eichel, but I mean, again, like it's out of my hands. Obviously, it's up to the refs to decide who wins because everyone's saying Vegas is paying the refs to keep all the calls because Florida could probably easily win some of these games. But the thing is, they just take so many stupid penalties and like retaliate after every freaking whistle. But yeah, if Florida is able to squeak out a win tonight in Vegas, it'll probably have to be off some like fluke goal or like they get like a 5-on-3 power play or something, or they get like an odd man rush, bad bounce leads to a breakaway goal or something, I think. But we shall have to wait and see. But I won't be able to watch most of the game tonight because I'm going to be volunteering for the River Lions, which I've been doing the past, well, I did my first one last Thursday. I did timeout coordinator, so I was making sure that the players are already after the timeouts, and then making sure that the refs are good to continue the game as once they're back from their the River Lions online broadcast. But apparently tonight's game is supposed to be on TSN 2, I think it is. So again, if you're watching, well, I'm gonna upload this podcast before the game tonight. So if you're seeing me look at the scores table, I'll be like on the far left side from your guys' view, but I will be on the right side from my view. But and I'll be wearing my, here it is, my my River Lions staff t-shirt with my little badge of honor right here, a little volunteer zone 1 badge. And but yeah, I had never been to a River Lions game before, but they actually know how to put on a good crowd. Like, I think they said there was about like 2,600 people there. Um, Last Thursday's game when they played the Scarborough Shooting Stars, which is funny because actually that's the team that J. Cole used to play for, and I remember he only shot threes for that team, but apparently I remember his like first game with them, he went like, I think it was like 1 for 7 on 3 pointers and like 1 assist, and like that was it in like 35 minutes of gameplay or something, I think. Um, but it was sick. Whenever the Riverlines do like a huge dunk, they have like fire shooting off from like the back of the net, which is pretty sick. And it was cool because I got to walk like underneath the stands, like where like all the players usually would like play soccer, like for the Ice Dogs before the games, and then got to be the court side and stick, so which was pretty cool. And then I just helped them um tear down the merch, Riverline's merch setup, and just carried some boxes into their one storage room, and then that was pretty it. So yeah, it was fun just to get some experience. And then so yeah, I have to be there at 5, so I have to leave in about like an hour and a half or so to get there. And then but yeah, the game finished around like just a little bit before or just a little bit after 9, because I think the one third quarter um I think the one third quarter literally like was done in like 5 minutes because there was like hardly any stoppages in play. um but but yeah, so I think my role will be the same as tonight too as well, because I think they're like, I asked before I left last Tuesday if or last Thursday if all of our roles would still be the same once um so like I'm doing the same job like pretty much every week rather than just switching up and doing like different things here or there. So so tonight's game should be pretty fun. So again, if you see me, if you happen to watch the game on TSN, look out for your boy. And then yeah, and actually I think they're playing the Vancouver tonight. So the River Lions are now 2-4, I think, on the series, or 3-4 in the season right now, I think. Um, but yeah, it should be a good game tonight. So what do you have? 37 minutes. Let me actually get to a quick 40. It's one last thing I could talk about. Um, hmm. Was there something else to talk about? Um, no, I feel like there's maybe something else. Um, oh, actually, well, I guess I can talk about this quickly, briefly, but um, so lately on like Tuesdays, like when I'm off, or even after when I finished work at 3, I usually try to go to the gym like as soon as I'm done work, and then sometimes like I'll come home like and just unwind for a little bit because I've been like moving around all day and stuff. And then yesterday, I like was in my bed for like 2 hours before I went to Kai's house to watch the NBA Finals game with Ryan. Because like, dude, I don't know what it was. Like, I came home, had like a Gatorade and like had like a protein bar, and I was watching some YouTube in my bed. And I just crashed, and like I woke up and it was like 5:45, and I'm like, okay, it's almost 6 o'clock. And then I hadn't. That's why I said like I hadn't even started editing my RBC Canadian Open video yet. So I was like, all right, I gotta get that edited quick before I head over to Kai's and then get it uploaded and everything. So, and because I just was like, I'm like, dude, I wake up, I'm like, oh, I just like when you like when you wake up after a nap, when you're like so tired that you feel you have to take another nap to recover from the nap you just had, or when you get like the lines from like your bed sheets or like blankets or pillows on like your arm or like your shoulder or something, and it's like when you know the nap was that good. Um, but even in the mornings, like so today, I went to the gym around like 10 a.m. Was there for like an hour or so. And it wasn't even that busy though. Like there was maybe like 5 or 6 other people in there, but like sometimes when I go at like 9 or like between 8:30 and 9, there's like nobody there. And then the one day I went a little bit later because like I was out late one Monday, and I was like I need to sleep in. So I slept until about like 10, got up, had like breakfast and stuff, and then kind of just watching YouTube, like taking my time and stuff. Then I went to the gym around like 11:30, and there was like 15 to 20 people there. I was like, I'd never seen it this busy on a Tuesday, and I'm like, am I gonna have to start going in like the evenings now? Because there's some times where like I've gone home after work and then gone to the gym the last like hour and a half before it closes at 9. So I go like around 7:30, 8 o'clock ish, and then once I get there, there's like nobody there. It's like a ghost town in there. I don't know what it is. It's just a ghost town. So, but that's also like when it's like kind of the sun starting to peak set now, because it doesn't get dark till like a little bit after like 9 ish now, like when the sun's like completely dark out. But it's like that time when, because it's all see-through windows in there, there's no blinds to put down or anything. So if you're like working out facing like the windows facing the parking lot, the sun is just glaring like right in your eyes and stuff. um which they should probably invest in some like kind of like see-through, because they have blinds on like the one corner where there's like a pull-up bar, and like where you can do like dips and stuff on, like they have blinds there, but they don't have ones on like the front, like the main gym where everyone works out at. So I feel like they should probably the community center should probably invest in some blinds for there. um but I mean, unless there are blinds there and I've just never noticed and they only keep them up and never put them down at all. But yeah, that's just one thing I've noticed from going to the gym the past like couple months or so. It's just like no matter, sometimes it's no matter what time I go at, it's always like busy there. And then sometimes I go at like a random time, like I'll go at like 4 p.m. in the afternoon on like a Thursday, and there's like no one there. So it's a very hit or miss with the community center. Again, I was talking about maybe not switching gyms, but maybe like seeing to go to like Good Life, or not Good Life, Fit for Less at the Penn Center. But I know like there's always a lot of like Brock students that go there, and there's just people there just to take pictures and selfies and shit like that. So I mean, maybe I might try it out once just to see what it's like for a month and then never go back again. But again, I'm fine with going to the community center because it's like a 5 minute drive from my house, so I'm not really too much to complain about it. So, or worst case scenario, I just work out from home on the rowing machine a little bit, and then with the free weights we have to as well. So again, I'm not too picky about that. Um, but yeah, so got about hour and a half to leave to get to the River Lions arena, or Meridian Center, where the River Lions play at. So yeah, we're about 42 minutes right now. So hopefully this podcast doesn't shit the bed once I try to end it here. But if you say this far in the video, thank you guys for watching the Mfren podcast, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, guys.